Kia ora and welcome to another Super Smash Scout video where we're going to focus on the best players for the teams who are already knocked out of finals, and this is being recorded before Auckland versus Central Districts, which means for the women we've got Otago and Canterbury who have been knocked out of finals contention, and on the men's side we have Otago and Wellington. So both Otago teams, the Volts, the Sparks, Southern, whatever you want to call them, they're not playing finals cricket in the Super Smash. And we will start with the Sparks woman, where Emma Black, I think, was their best player, and she was like, her and Ben Sears are my best players overall, I think, for these bottom teams in the Super Smash. But Emma Black is a really good cricketer for Otago, primarily a bowler. She's a good fielder, hold that thought, and I think she had like a bigger role with the bat, a little promotion up the order, but that wasn't anything notable or substantial. I actually think someone like Anika Todd for the Sparks should be batting ahead of Emma Black, but Emma Black is a veteran of that Sparks team, so she deserved that promotion. She is the only Sparks bowler with 10 plus wickets in both HBJ Shield, the one-day competition, and Super Smash. In Super Smash, she had 13 wickets, averaging 21.6, and in HBJ Shield, 12 wickets, averaging 15. No other bowler for the Sparks has 8 wickets in HBJ Shield, and no other bowler has 10 wickets in the Super Smash. Emma Black, 13 wickets in the Super Smash. Quite easily, I think, their best bowler overall. Louisa Kottkamp herself was really good as a seamer, very bouncy seamer that we should add to the very interesting group of young seamers on the rise in the White Ferns pipeline. And also shout out to the Sparks spinners, Anna Browning, Chloe Dearness, and PJ Watkins. PJ Watkins and Anna Browning have some all-round ability. Chloe Dearness is a clone of Eden Carson, which would make a pretty funky situation there when Eden Carson does return from injury, because her and Dearness are very similar cricketers, off spinners, excellent fielders. Eden Carson's obviously shown more with the bat in her career. Emma Black has been around the White Ferns, but she hasn't played for the White Ferns yet, and she deserves to, because she's got a fantastic career record in both formats. 24.5 average in one-day cricket and 20.3 average in T20 cricket, but she does bowl a bit slower with the Jess Kerr in swing, so I don't know if you need to have her and Jess Kerr in the same team. And there's other seamers like your Molly Penfolds, your Bree Illings, who just bowl faster. Rosemary Meir, those type of bowlers hit the deck, they bowl faster. That seems better suited to international cricket. And then there's those emerging seamers, Kaylee Knight, Louisa Kottkamp as well. So I'm curious where Emma Black stacks up for the White Ferns, but she has been awesome throughout her career. She has been awesome this summer, and she was awesome in the Super Smash. The Sparks also have Polly Inglis, who has been pretty solid this summer. No 50 plus score in the Super Smash, but she did score 184 runs, most runs for the Sparks, averaging 26, strike rate of 132, which is basically makes Inglis the only Kiwi batter for the Sparks who had a strike rate over 120. And while there is a big difference in balls face between Polly Inglis and Laura Harris, Polly Inglis hit 5 sixes, Laura Harris hit 5 sixes. So you would assume that Laura Harris is the best six hitter in Aotearoa as an Aussie slugger, and definitely the best six hitter for the Sparks. If you go like sixes per deliveries, Laura Harris is definitely well ahead of Inglis, but ultimately overall they hit the same number of sixes, which more than anything just reflects well on Polly Inglis. And she is also one of their best batters in the HBJ Shield, averaging 37, got a 50 plus score there. Something of note is that Saffron Wilson is the only Sparks batter with 250s in either competition, HBJ Shield and Super Smash, but Saffron Wilson wasn't good enough to crack that Sparks. Got to fly around here. First 11 in Super Smash, but she did play every HBJ Shield game, so you wouldn't have seen Saffron Wilson playing Super Smash, but she is their best HBJ Shield batter this season. So you just keep that tucked away for when we return to one-day cricket on the women's circuit. Canterbury. Kate Anderson was really good, as she always is. A century, a 50. No, sorry, that's the HBJ Shield stats for Canterbury. So if you were wondering, Kate Anderson does have a century and a 50 in HBJ Shield. I was looking at it, I was like, why aren't there any strike rates over 100? Because it's one-day cricket. Anderson was also pretty good in the Super Smash, 216 runs, strike rate of 101. Izzy Sharp was awesome in the Super Smash, but did kind of dip away as the tournament went on. Her strike rate dropped. The amount of runs she scored dropped. But solid campaign for Izzy Sharp that really showcased her talent. The thing I want to highlight with Izzy Sharp is she is one of the best boundary fielders in Super Smash. And this is a theme for Kiwi cricket to watch out for, because we know that fielding is a Kiwi cricket fundamental. And I'm not necessarily talking catching, I'm talking stop and runs, diving on the outfield, because these players, I've got visions of all these players just diving head first, belly down, head first, bodies on the line to stop a run, to stop 2 runs. That is how Kiwis play cricket. And when you're watching cricket around the world, there are a lot of players who are not willing to go that extreme with their fielding. But the key thing here is that Izzy Sharp is one of the best emerging batters in Aotearoa, and she has proven herself to be one of the best fielders in the Super Smash, specifically patrolling the boundary. Who are the other best emerging batters on the White Ferns pipeline? Flora Devonshire, Emma McLeod. What do they do? Excellent fielders for Central Hinds. Both of them took amazing catches in one of the recent Central games. I think that was against Otago. But they're also patrolling the boundaries. Now think about Reese Mariu, Muhammad Abbas, Bevan Jacobs, 3 of the best emerging batters for the Black Caps, who are patrolling the boundaries in Super Smash at a very, very high level. Reese Mariu, for example, he's fielding in slips when they're playing Plunkett Shield cricket for Canterbury. But the thing about stepping up to the White Ferns, stepping up to the Black Caps, is you can be a big Donny standing at first slip all day for Canterbury as an emerging batter, second slip, third slip, gully, whatever it is. But when you play for the Black Caps, well, you're not doing that job ahead of Daryl Mitchell, and you're going to be patrolling the boundaries. So there's this thing like, oh, you're the best batter, so you get the easiest fielding job. That's not the case with the young men and women who are the best batters in Aotearoa on the rise. They are doing excellent boundary work. Bevan Jacobs was doing it while he was hitting 550s in a row, whatever it was. Muhammad Abbas comes back from injury. He's patrolling the boundary for Wellington. Awesome fielder. That's something that I think is noteworthy in the New Zealand cricket pipelines, is that those players are humble enough to take up very difficult fielding positions. They are obviously good enough as fielders to do it at a very high level, but also their executing skills, they're getting reps in positions that they will do at the higher level. So Izzy Sharp to me leads that. She was Canterbury's best batter. She is like awesome batter on the rise for the White Ferns, and she was going like basically cow corner to cow corner at various stages for Canterbury. So shout out to Izzy Sharp. Easily the highest strike rate for Canterbury as well. Canterbury wasn't very good. They won one game, and Izzy Sharp had a strike rate of 129, which did drop heavily throughout the Super Smash, but no one else had a strike rate over 120, let alone most of them below 110. The one player I do want to highlight for Canterbury, aside from Sharp, is Missy Banks. She is a combination of Missy Elliott and Lloyd Banks. Missy Banks, very good all-round cricketer for Canterbury. Hasn't been very good in the Super Smash with the bat. She's only got 75 runs, but she did have her best innings in the most recent loss against Northern Districts, 38 not out. Let's check that strike rate, 38 not out, strike rate of 136. Easily Canterbury's best batter in that game. Her overall batting stats aren't tremendous, but she does have a lot of 20 plus scores, a lot of 30 plus scores, which is fantastic when you are the only Canterbury bowler with 10 plus wickets in both competitions, like Emma Black. Super Smash, Missy Banks, 14 wickets, averaging 19. Leading wicket taker for Canterbury in that format, Sarah Asmussen, the leggy, she also took 11 wickets. So they had two bowlers taking 10 wickets or more in Super Smash. But Missy Banks also had 11 wickets, averaging 18 in the HBJ Shield. And no one else had 10 wickets in HBJ Shield for Canterbury. Only two bowlers had 10 wickets in the Super Smash, Banks and Asmussen. So basically, Missy Banks, I think she's Canterbury's best bowler right now, this summer. And that includes Leah Tahuhu, averaging 41 in the Super Smash and only played one game of HBJ Shield. So that is a fantastic season. This is a fantastic season so far for Missy Banks. Very good cricketer, all-round cricketer. And also shout out to Asmussen because she's got 8 wickets, averaging 26 in the HBJ Shield. Let's slide over to the blokes. And I mentioned Ben Sears. We've talked a bit about Ben Sears. Don't know what else to say. 15 wickets, averaging 17.9. Let's go to his T20 bowling stuff. If I have it here quickly. T20 internationals averaging 24, T20s overall averaging 21. Tom Blundell was fantastic throughout the Super Smash, but he doesn't really fit into Black Caps T20 stuff. So I think you can get into the nitty gritty about who the best Firebirds player overall was. It probably was Tom Blundell. It was Tom Blundell, definitely. But I also think Ben Sears is fantastic, and he's got that Black Caps upside, especially in T20 cricket. And he was coming back from injury, so that's a very impressive stint in the Super Smash for Ben Sears. Remember, he was sent to Melbourne to play T20 club cricket there. Came back to Super Smash, dominated Super Smash. I wouldn't be surprised if Ben Sears is called up to that Black Caps T20 squad for the World Cup as a travelling reserve, because Adam Milne's been injured. Kyle Jamieson goes from travelling to reserve to regular squad member. I would be putting Ben Sears into that travelling reserve slot ahead of one of my favourite cricketers, Zach Folks. And that's how good Ben Sears has been recently, but also how good Ben Sears has been over a long period of time. We've talked a lot about Sam Morgan, 250s in his first 2 scores. We've talked about Oscar Jackson, fantastic all-round performances from him in just 3 games. One other player to watch out for with Wellington is James Hart-Shawn. This season, he's got 5 wickets at 54 in the Plunkett Shield. He's got 12 wickets at 19 in the Ford Trophy one-day competition. And he's got 6 wickets, averaging 14 in the Super Smash. Like that for James Hart-Shawn. Talked a lot about Wellington, recent Super Smash scouts. So we'll keep it moving to the Vaults. The Otago Southern Region's Vaults. Who? I think their best player was Ben Lockrose. Lefty spinner who can bat really well. He didn't bat very well in the Super Smash though, which was a little bit surprising because Super Smash batting should suit Ben Lockrose. He smashes it. But he didn't smash it in the Super Smash. 40 runs, averages 6, strike rate of 85. However, Ben Lockrose was Otago, Southern, Volts, whatever you want to say. It's a bit difficult trying to keep that top of mind as we're just ranting and raving about Kiwi cricket. Ben Lockrose, 11 wickets at 24 for the Volts as a lefty spinner. Their leading wicket taker, their only wicket taker, their only bowler with 10 plus wickets in the Super Smash, which shows you what Ben Lockrose was doing. And then we go into these other formats where Ben Lockrose was really good in the one-day competition, well, really solid. 7 wickets averaging 31, not doing anything with the bat. That's all right because that's the same as his Super Smash stuff. So he's excellent in Super Smash bowling, solid in Ford Trophy bowling, and pretty mediocre in Plunket Shield bowling. 6 wickets averaging 67, but Ben Lockrose hit 250s in the Plunket Shield, 225 runs averaging 56, which shows there is batting ability there with Ben Lockrose, and he's one of 5 Volts batters who have scored 200 plus runs, and he's got the second highest average of them all. So there's overlap there where his batting in the white ball formats wasn't so good, but his batting was in the red ball format was really good. His bowling in the white ball formats was pretty good. His bowling in the red ball format wasn't as good. So to me, that's just signs of a good cricketer, a good young cricketer. I think Ben Lockrose, 25, 26 maybe, 25 years old. Those are indicators that he is a good cricketer. And he's just kind of finding ways to be effective across the formats, because the key thing with Ben Lockrose here in the Volts, Ben Lockrose is playing all 3 formats. 9 games of Super Smash, 5 games of Ford Trophy, which is every game, 4 games of Plunket Shield, which is every game, and he played every game of Super Smash because they only had 9 games, I believe. So watch out for Ben Lockrose moving forward, because ultimately, I think he's still behind Tim Pringle as a lefty spinner, but he's not that far behind with the all-round skill set. Tim Pringle's shown he's a good batter. They're both good fielders. And we got 2 of these dudes right there, not to mention Rohit Gulati. We've talked about that before. So I think this was a very interesting Super Smash campaign for Ben Lockrose, and it's an interesting summer so far for Ben Lockrose as a lefty spinning all-rounder. Shout out to Max Chu. I think we're seeing the best version of Max Chu in his career these days with the Volts across all 3 formats. What's he doing so far? Super Smash, 29.6 average, strike rate of 137, Ford Trophy, leading run scorer. So here's the leading run scorer in Super Smash for the Volts, leading run scorer in the Ford Trophy, and he's got a 50 in both of those competitions. Let's check the Plunket Shield. He's got a 50. He's got 100 in the Plunket Shield as well. 3rd for runs there, averaging 48. So you could make the case that Max Chu, wicketkeeper for the Volts, is their best player overall this season, which is fascinating when we're thinking about Black Caps wicketkeepers, because Mitch Hayes next in line. Then we've got Max Chu, we've got Ben Pomare, and others on the rise as well. As I'm going through these stats, I do want to highlight Luke Georgeson, who I think he's had injuries in the last 2 Super Smash campaigns. He only played 3 games this season, but he took 5 wickets, averaging 8. Wowza. With the ball in Super Smash, also scored 45 runs, 2 not out, so he's averaging 45. Bit of a lower strike rate, but then we go the other formats. Not a great Ford Trophy campaign, but Plunket Shield, Luke Georgeson, 320 runs, 350s in 6 innings, 3 not outs, average 107, and he also had 13 wickets, averaging 30. Luke Georgeson can't be overlooked as, well, he's one of my favourite cricketers, full stop, in Aotearoa, based on his all-round ability and his leadership as a 26-year-old with the Volt setup. Bowling averages, first class 32, list day 27, T20s 19.8. He's got a first class batting average of 27, one day batting average of 33.6, T20s averaging 21. He's a really solid cricketer who, if he catches fire, like he's already caught fire this summer, especially in Plunket Shield before his injury, he has Black Caps potential, and will be very interesting to see how that progresses. With the Volts, we also saw Jamal Todd continue to emerge as a lefty hitter up the top of the order. We've seen the Cumming brothers get a good opportunity. Jacob Cumming opening the batting top of the order, is what I was trying to say, and Zach Cumming, leggy, who played 3 games and took 2 wickets. And you got just good cricketers there, like Jake Gibson is another very interesting all-rounder, big hitting all-rounder who bowls a bit of seam, like what I've seen there. And we also saw the debut of Harry Sixton, 19-year-old, tall bowler who, you know, he looks all right. It'll be interesting to see how he settles into domestic cricket. Obviously, the commentators were talking him up, and there's very easy Will O'Rourke comparisons on offer with how they look and how they bowl. But this does offer a reminder of who Will O'Rourke is and what he does. Because respect to Harry Sixton, he wasn't moving the ball as we've seen Will O'Rourke move the ball early in his career. Harry Sixton wasn't bowling 145 Ks in his debut game, which is all right because that's a tough spot, maybe the pressure, nerves and all that stuff, but it's the movement. Will O'Rourke moves the ball tremendously, in swing, seam movement. He might get the hoop and in swinger, nipping it away off the seam to go with his height, to go with his pace. Harry Sixton has the height, curious about the pace, didn't see a whole lot of movement there to suggest he's like Will O'Rourke, and that's the standard we're operating here in New Zealand with someone like Will O'Rourke, is how, yes, he's tall, yes, he bowls pretty quick, but it's the nibble, it's the swing, it's the movement that makes him such a fascinating bowler for Aotearoa moving forward. Today we've got Auckland Central, then we got Super Smash Finals. Big up to yourself, do your best. Get some nibble, how about that? Have a little nibble off the seam, and just Sam Morgan, batting styles. 6s over cover, 6s over square leg, 6s down the ground. Have a crack like Sam Morgan, see what happens, church.